Hello there, everyone. This is Keith, or Risen, on the Turbo Mopar forums. This is the second attempt at the first installment of a set of decal and calibration-related tutorial videos. Today I will be going over the dcal program and its uses and the basic information you need to know to be able to put it to work for you. The decal program is a program that's used to edit the information in the calibration that runs your car. Since this is in computer readable format, it's not very easy for humans to go in and modify as is. So decal just makes our lives easier in that regards. If you need to get a copy of decal, I believe you can still go to the Yahoo group. I believe it's groups.yahoo.com/d-cal. And I think if you either join the group or look around there, you should be able to download the latest version of decal. Once you have it downloaded and have extracted the zip file, I believe it comes in somewhere, you'll be left with a directory like what you see in the middle of the screen now. The program itself is right here. It's got a little turbo icon. In order to edit calibration, you first need to have a copy of that calibration and some definitions for that calibration. All of these definitions are stored in these files that end in .tbl, normally referred to as the table files. These table files are required for you to be able to edit a calibration, and for the most part, the tables are specific to the calibration. So, for example, I wouldn't be able to use an 89 table on an 87 calibration. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to very briefly show you a table file, and the table files are human readable, even if they're not the easiest things to read. The first part of this table, say the first 8 lines or so, are sort of descriptive information about this table and the calibration that goes with it. This stuff doesn't really matter to the running of the car. It's just in there for information. The injectors and boost line might be used by some utilities, but for decal's purposes, they're just descriptive. Down here, starting with this line, this is the meat of the table file, and this basically tells decal where to look in the bin file, the binary file that will actually be running your car, where to look to find the tables and constants and various other items. So you can see this first column is actually an offset. It says starting at byte C00B. Decal will be looking for this table. I forget what these two fields are. I think they have to do something with signed or unsigned. The name of the table, the type of the input, which is map sensor, the minimum possible value for the input to the table, the maximum, and the units for the input. Next is the output, minimum units for the output, and maximum units for the output, and units for the output. And then this is a short descriptive name. I believe it had something to do with Chrysler's original naming. And this last part here, which extends off my screen, is just a text description that will show up in decal for probably for easy reference. Again, you need a table file to be able to edit a bin file, and these table files just describe what the tables and constants in the bin file are and where they're located. Now, if we look at the file just above the one I just had open, this is the bin file, or this is the actual calibration that you would burn to a chip to run the car with. So I won't attempt to open it because it doesn't look like much of anything. So I'm going to open decal. And when you run decal, you get this screen that I have in front of me. Very quickly, the parts of the screen, this whole box here, which is empty right now because I don't have a calibration loaded, is the table and constant list. This radio button down here allows you to sort the table and constant list by name, by address, which was that leftmost column in the table file, or by type. And there are 3 basic types of data that you can edit with decal. They're tables, constants, and config flags. This disable editing binary checkbox does what it says it does. It stops you from making any changes. These buttons along the bottom here, this load and save loads a calibration, saves a calibration. Options are for program options, which I will go through really quick here. The reload last edited, if you were editing a cal and you closed the program and restarted it, it would reload the calibration you were last editing. Hide mouse pointer, I'm assuming it does what it says, but I've never used it. Comparison calibration I'll come back to later, but it allows you to compare two calibrations. It's sort of on a table-by-table basis, and the definitions and names of the tables need to be the same. So there's some restrictions there, but it's generally very useful. And this flash speed has to do with flashable specs, which I'm not going to go into today. This flash button here along the bottom would flash the calibration to the spec. This cal data button would show those first 8 lines in the table file that I showed you before. It's really just descriptive stuff. This binary would actually give you a hex dump of the data in the calibration for the table you have selected, and I think it's probably 32 or 64 bytes around it. The scan button would scan the calibration to attempt to find tables. The scale button will scale the table in your current window, and I'll show you a brief example of that. The new and delete buttons insert and delete tables. The help button does what it says, and the exit button does what it says.